You there? I was just texting you a response to your text. Basically, the text is to say that they're having problems with their sound system, and so they took a break to get it fixed. So I sent the broadcast back to you, dear. Well, yeah, no, they were ready to go, and we started, but they had problems with the sound system, so they sent it back. So I will. They're working on it now. As soon as they're done, we'll call back. Okay. Okay. No problem. How are you?
Good to see you here, Mr. Casey. You got coffee?
I have coffee and orange juice. I'm okay. Thank you for
You
asking.
need some yogurt?
No, I've had a bagel and I have a muffin sitting here, so.
That's not good, though.
Huh?
See that yogurt is supposed to put that good bacteria into our system
Okay.
and keep it flowing.
Testing 1, 2.
I'll work on that.
Testing 1, 2. Testing 1, 2.
What kind is it?
Blueberry, peach, and raspberry. Which one?
Raspberry. Thank you, sir. Well, I'll take whatever's there. Thank you.
Council will call us back from our break. We got the sound system fixed. So we'll be moving on to item number 6, OST Constitutional.
Good morning. I guess I'll be the one doing the opening of the special session, special council meeting on constitutional reform. And first and foremost, I want to thank everybody for attending today, my colleagues and the listening.
Thank you, Derek. We're coming at you live again from the Little One School Elementary Auditorium. This is a special council meeting for constitutional reform. Robin Tapio, Tribal Council Representative from Pine Ridge Village, has the mic right now.
This initiative did start back in May of 2017. That's when this initiative on constitutional reform began. So it's been a two-year process, right? And I also want to say that, you know, in the past administrations, I believe under Brian Brewer's administration, we attempted to take a look at the Constitution way back then, because we saw that we needed to upgrade the Constitution and the amendments and things like that. But nothing ever came of it. And so when this task force was formed back in 2017 with the approval of the council, full council, at that time Tina and Jackie were appointed the lead on it, and they asked for volunteers. And you know, each and every one of us sitting within the circle today had the opportunity to volunteer for this initiative, you know, and with the exception of the new people that are on board, everybody had the opportunity to be part of this, because we all agreed that we needed to see with that said, I just want to share with you from a text message I got from one of my community people this morning, and just to keep an open mind, because I know I know and I respect each community's decision and their position on constitutional reform. So I just want to share this. It says, "Hi Robin, I cannot make it today. Our whole crew is sick. My family and all friends in Pine Ridge District wholly support the constitutional reform and respectfully request that all 3 Pine Ridge District representatives vote in favor of proceeding to a referendum vote on each of the proposed changes. We will vote against and campaign against any representatives that chooses to subvert the will of the people." And then in parentheses it says, "If you think this will help, please read it on the floor for me and my friends and my relatives. Thank you, George Wilson." So I got that from him this morning, and I got a couple others, and I'm sure you did too, you know. So today, all we're asking is that, you know, we keep an open mind, and we remember each of the people in our districts as we decide on this very important initiative that was brought forth by this tribal council. The other thing I want to say is that the whole intent of constitutional reform is that from beginning to end, there was a process that had to be followed, and we followed that process to the T. And at the end, the outcome of a constitutional reform is either to have a secretarial election. That's the outcome. And there's 2 ways that secretarial election can happen. Either by a 2/3 vote of the council, which is kind of the reason we're having this meeting today, or the other way is by referendum vote of the people. So that's the outcome of having the petition, right? So with that said, I'll go ahead and turn it over to the other task force members to introduce themselves. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm one of the task force members that volunteered to see this process through, to help the people make sure that they had input throughout this endeavor. We went through many meetings, many communities, districts, college centers, schools. We involved a lot of people in this effort, and also, you know, going on the radio and having weekly meetings, weekly updates. It was just a constant thing. It was a lot of work, and I'm pretty tired. But here I am today, and I just want to share something, you know. Past 2 years, I've had my lights disconnected twice because I was so busy with council work and also with trying to squeeze in constitutional meetings. So today my lights were turned off again. My granddaughter called me and said, "Grandma, the lights are off." And where's the flashlight? Because Papa wants to look at the breaker. I said, "I don't think it's my breakers, it's the lights." But you know, we go through things like this. We get really busy in our lives, and our lights get turned off too. So with that, you know, I just want to welcome everybody, the listening audience, and I just wanted to show how much work we put into this, and it was a lot of research from the beginning, and we're still learning as we go along too. You know, it's not a perfect document. It's not something that's written in stone. It's things that can be amended in the future, you know, so With that, I want to thank everybody for being here. Thank you.
Hihani Lakji. I just want to say Wopila for everyone taking the time today to be here to listen and again have an open heart, open mind. This information. I just want to show of hands how many of you council reps looked at your packets, your binders that you guys were given a month and a half ago. Okay. So if you guys really took the time to look at them and all the meetings that we have, and I'm very grateful that I was actually a facilitator in the beginning part of this process, and I was at those meetings and I heard from the people. I heard some cry, some angry, some had experiences that they talked about and shared, and all of these meetings are documented and they're on KOLC, and so you guys at any time can go and review those to hear it yourselves from the people. And it wasn't just, it was people that shared things, but when they shared things, they talked about how they can see it different, and solutions, and I think that was what was really a takeaway from those meetings. And you see the documents in front of you, have them in front of you, all the proposed amendments that are out there for us to consider. So again, I just want to thank you for, and my name is Nikina Mills, sorry, Pioneers District Rep. And I enjoyed those times getting out there to the people, and I'm still enjoying those times. This is an educational process, and it's going to continue to be an educational process for us all and the Oyate. So again, Mopila, thank you.
So I just want to say thank you, President Bear Runner, for having this meeting. We and the people do appreciate you taking the time to schedule this. And I want to thank all of you council reps who are here. And you know that from last administration, this became a tribal initiative, an Oglala Sioux tribal initiative. And with that resolution, we're going to talk a little bit about the history as we move forward. We gave you all the data. We presented to new council all of the data during orientation. So from there, you have the opportunity to review that. But we're going to go through a little bit of that timeline. As we started this initiative, they started in a standing committee, Law and Order. And this is from the minutes that was passed. And from there, it was motioned by Lydia Bearkiller, second by Sonia Weston, to develop a task force with the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council representatives, Valentina Merdanian, Jackie Sears, for the constitutional reform. 4-0 against, 0 abstaining, 2 not.
December 21st, the Finance Committee met, reviewed, and approved a motion to forward the Strategic Task Force work plan of constitutional reform. So this was approved, and then the amount, so 60,611, 611, sorry, from the AIDS and Tribal Government Budget 2017. So we just wanted to show the resolution there of the funding.
And just to touch on this, it started in law and order, but it also had to be approved in finance committee. So the two standing committees, in getting their approval, then the resolution came to council. And this was our objective. This is what was passed in that resolution in last administration. And so with that being said, we wanted to develop, we do have an overall budget. We'll share some of that with you. Cora has a binder that has all of our financials from the beginning of that carryover money from 2016 that we used in 2017, 2018, 2019, and we'll get into those. But right now, this is the 2017 monies that were appropriated to us, and we had a reserve of $22,702.55. That was our last update. Now, please understand that in this process, because it was a new process that we were going through in using those aid to tribal government funds, that we followed the letter of the code. Now, in doing this, Nakina talked about those teams. Remember? She talked about those teams. Well, in that financial book, you will see that we had job descriptions, the scope of work, what we were going to do, and then with that, we also had the contracts. And so we kept track of everything that we were doing. We provided a list of those individuals that were in those teams. And so I just want to remember all the hard work that happened back then. And our initial task force that was developed in 2017 of our council that volunteered to assist us at that time was Robin Tapio, Heinrich District Rep, Stephanie Starr Leisure, Oglala, and Lisa Jumping Eagle De Leon, Wounded Knee. Those were the three representatives that joined us last administration who volunteered as the task force. From there, we developed 3 teams because we knew that we needed help to go out. We used those aid to tribal government funds to hire 3 facilitators, 3 admin recorders, and 3 Lakota translators. And then we solicit the help from our Native Nation rebuilders. Now, the Pine Ridge Reservation has over 20 Native Nation rebuilders. Now, why is that important? Is because these individuals went through 2 years of extensive training looking at self-determination and constitutional reform. Through this process, the Bush Foundation out of Minneapolis invests around $25,000 to $30,000 per individual to receive this training and the tools that they need to help with self-determination. So all of that information is within that binder. We also have a binder that's full of our signage, and we have also our calendars of when we went out in the various meetings, so that's available as well. But most importantly is to remember the people who are part of this process. Team 1, facilitator, Nakina Mills. Admin recorder, Connie Ten Fingers. Translator, Ivan Starr comes out. Rebuilder, Tama Ayatollah. Team 2, facilitator, Anna takes the shield. Admin recorder, Sandra Fire Viking. Translator, Chris Eaglehawk. Rebuilder, Lisa Schrader. And team 3, I didn't include, but it just gives you an idea that we had all of this information available, and that's in that book. We started into phase 1, and that is the community outreach. And with that being said, our teams can talk about this, and Nakina talked about this a lot, is going out into our communities and doing that education, was outreach and education. And And for many of our people, it was the first time that they did see the Constitution. So then we had to come out with some kind of mechanism that did break down the Constitution article by article. And so that's how we formatted our meetings when we went into the districts. But we also had some attorneys that volunteered who were there to answer some of the legal questions as well. A lot of research went into this, and this is important to notice. When we did our research, you look up there, we created a table. You look at the 1851 Fort Laramie Treaty. Up there, you only see one article that supports that constitutional right. You look at the 1868 Fort Laramie Treaty. Of those 17 articles, what do you see there? You only see about three of the articles in the IRA Constitution that supports those treaty rights. 3. When you look at this far right-hand column, you're going to see that this is federal legislation that impacted those treaty rights. Now, did we go in with a blind eye and really looking at this? No, we wanted to create a government. And remember, my relatives, we've been participating in this government for 82 years. 82 years. So with that, isn't it time we make the changes that help support our rights that were established by our forefathers within our treaties? So with that, in 1858, like I said, only one article. 68, only 2 articles. And we shared this with the people. And we said, okay, what do you think needs to be improved? And the people sat down. And they said, let's start with the preamble. So we started with that. And then, like I said, we went back again. And we went back again. But we have to keep in mind, yeah, maybe the numbers weren't there. But these individuals were represented by their Tioshpaye leaders. This one individual that came represented 15, 17 of his family members when he was offering solutions on what needed to be changed. That's an example. That's an example of empowering our people and empowering those traditional concepts of our Tioshpayes. So looking at our Constitution, we accepted this IRA government in 1936. We accepted it. We amended it in 1969. And then in 1985, 1997, and most recently in 2008. Of those 2008 amendments, 9 of the 17 articles were amended. So let me tell you, this isn't the first time we extensively amended our Constitution, because we have done it in the past. And what is different about this time is that those solutions did come from our relatives out there in the communities and not just by council. And so we wanted to make this available to all the people, and we did it in various medium forms. We had a website, we had a Facebook page, and then Nakina became our poster lady for constitutional reform. We redid these recordings on KOLC where she broke down the Constitution article by article. We also go to Keeley Radio every Tuesday at 8 a.m. Rain, snow, or shine, we are there. Every Wednesday at 8:30, we have a task force meeting. And we invite people. We invite everybody to be a part of that. It's an open door policy. And so with that, typically we met at the council chambers, but because of recent renovations in the council chambers, we've also been meeting up at the veterans shelter in their conference room. And so we've been up there meeting as well. In the beginning, we started to look at our numbers, okay? So we said, what is our total enrollment? And the enrollment office gave us this information. They said our total enrollment for the Oglala Sioux tribe is 40,801. So then we asked, okay, of that total enrollment, how many reside on the reservation? And that is 19,000. How many reside off the reservation? 20,000. And of that 20,000 that live off the reservation, 14,000 live in Haysapa in Rapid City. 14,000 of that 20,000 live in Rapid City. So this is where we got a lot of discussion in our communities, and a lot of our relatives said, you need to look at our people that were forced to leave the reservation for jobs, for housing, for education. So we weren't anticipating to go to Rapid City, but we were invited. So then we went 3 times to meet with our enrolled members that live in Rapid City. And so we did try to reach out to everybody in regards to educating them on our current Constitution. And of the 19,000 that live on the reservation, we said, how many of them are eligible voters? Because we don't have voter registration on this Pine Ridge Reservation. We do not. We have enrolled eligible members that vote. And what defines an eligible voter? You have to be 18 years or older, you have to be an enrolled member, and you have to reside within the boundaries of the Pine Ridge Reservation. That's an eligible voter. So based upon that definition, our eligible voters are 12,283. Okay? That's our eligible voters. And so with that, as a task force, we sat down and we said, how are we going to reach out to the people? How best can we do this? And so with that, we looked at the 19,000, and we wanted to reach all segments of our population. We met with all of our student councils in the high schools. We met with the elders who had knowledge of the treaties. We met with some treaty councils. We also went to the districts, and like I said, we didn't just go one time, we went multiple times. And so this is just an example of one of those schedules of going out into the communities. And, you know, as Nakina said, that takes away a lot of time, but going out into those communities and having those meetings, we had 1,299 participants. And of this is what the people said, because during these meetings, it was like having a true working session. And I can say here in Medicine Root, we sat down with the people and we took big poster notes and we would write down, we'd go article by article, and they'd tell us what they thought, how that article should be amended. And so here's the results of just that participation. 93% said we needed to include our culture and our language within our government. 93% said that. They said they wanted longer term limits. They wanted 4-year terms for council. They said they want to reestablish district boundaries, because if you look at our current Constitution in Article 3, we don't have district boundaries. They also said we want all of the 3 branches, the elected officials, to be elected at large by everybody, at large. And they said it's most important to protect those rights within our treaties, the 1851 and the 1868 Fort Laramie Treaty. And they also said 1 representative per district. They also said we need term limits. They said we need to really look at that executive branch and develop that as a business council, as other tribal nations have. And then they wanted separation of powers between the judicial, and that means being voted, the judges, the Attorney General, to be voted in at large. As you see in a lot of our state municipalities, the judges are voted in by at large. So, 1,299. So we said we still need to continue to outreach. So we called what is boots on the ground, and let me tell you, Robin, do you want to share that story when we first went out and you went to Potato Creek?
Just real briefly, yeah, we went door to door, and I believe there's 15 or 16 units in the Potato Creek housing area up there, and I knocked on the door, and I had my copies of the Constitution, and they invited me in, and I went in and sat down, and the lady says, "Oh, is it election time? Because that's the only time the council members come here." Thank you. I thought it was election time, and I was there to ask for their vote.
And the flip side to her story, I was fortunate enough to go to an elder's home who, and she said, I don't even follow that Constitution. Like she was just, like she said, I believe in the treaties, and it was a real, educational, informative session with me, with the elder. We sat and she drank her coffee and we talked, and I listened, and at the end of the day, like I think I spent I want to say 25, 30 minutes just sitting there talking with her and learning, or she was teaching me Lakota and things, but I just think about that. If we hear this from an elder when she knows this system isn't working, and I heard her say that, and then sharing what I gave her, a draft and the 50 amendments, and she was like, wow, so you're out here listening and just want to hear me, and I was just like, yeah, I want to hear what you got to say. And so I just wanted to share that, just having the time to sit there and listen. I mean, that's pretty much what we did, is listen. And I take that to heart, because that they're the ones that came up with these solutions and what they think what we should be doing. So that was my story, sitting there with the Unchi for 25, 30 minutes talking about the treaties and what she thought we needed.
Okay, before we proceed, I mean, right now we're just telling stories, and I have a flight to catch this afternoon, so I'm going to open it up to questions from Tribal Council.
So with that, we wanted to share the data. We wanted to share a little bit of that history, because there was some confusion on that history, and I don't, if that's part of the story, then yes, it's an important piece of the story. In the end, when it's all boiled down, these are the solutions. This is what is reflected in the data. It's breaking down the current
Councilwoman
Constitution.
Merdanian, at this time, I asked for questions from Tribal Council. I'm sorry, we'll proceed if Tribal Council wants to continue forward. I'm just trying to get questions and start a conversation here. So is there any questions from Tribal Council? Councilwoman Whitehorse.
We had a discussion earlier. I spoke to the chair of Law and Order, and he felt that since it was an initiated from Law and Order Committee, that it should be going back to Law and Order Committee for review. And I also spoke to the attorneys, and they have not had a chance to review the packet either. Jennifer said the first time she saw it was today. So with that, I'll make a motion to table, give Jennifer a full copy, and send it back to Law and Order Committee for their review.
Okay, I got a motion to table and send back to Law and Order Committee after the attorney has had adequate time to review the documents presented. I have a second. Councilwoman Tapio.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Since we're closing this discussion so rapidly, I just want to say, with all due respect to you, Mr. President, and the rest of the sitting council today, I just feel that the reason for tabling this is I don't even know the word to say it, but we told the people we were going to have a secretarial election. And we also informed this council that that was the outcome of doing the constitutional reform. And you all voted in favor of this. And then now it's like we lost all the support. The president's cutting us off. We're trying to show you all the work and all the data that we've done. and for the people. We've done this initiative for the people. And here we are today now tabling it again. But I'll tell you what, again, I said there are time frames with these grant monies. You know, we should be proud. We should be proud that we got grant monies. We never used 1 penny from the tribal coffers to do this constitutional reform. We got grant monies, and we have to answer to that. So today I'm really disheartened because I thought we were going to sit and listen objectively and hear this out. And now move it back to law and order, and then what? Can someone in the circle answer me? And then what? What's next? Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Tapia. I'm not trying to cut you guys off. We're at a certain point in your presentation, and I'm trying to get some questions answered by tribal council if they have any. Councilwoman Sears.
Yeah, I think this meeting was set up specifically for us today to present, get questions answered. You know, it's been almost 2 months since we handed out those binders, and it's not very much to look at. You know, it looks thick, but most of them are graphs and things like that. So I believe that we shouldn't table it. We should just finish it out. This meeting was held especially today for the day, so, you know, we took time out. People took time out to come out here, you know, so I think we need to give that opportunity to show the people what work went into this and where we're at today. Yeah, and then just give the opportunity for people to vote on each of the 50 amendments. We're not asking you guys to approve the amendments. We're asking for a secretarial election for the people, so they can have that opportunity to vote on each and every amendment. That's all it is. So I believe that we should keep the meeting going today. Thank you.
Councilwoman Bear Killer.
Lai hene ki lila oyate tona ya hiu ki wopila tankai chichel. Le tokahe a ki miena Sanya. Le no oyate ki le reform almarish amendments almana wichunku. Ash le che glihunia ha le itachanish council ki. Hana cha le yuha na gagap na le cha ake ahim. No oyate ki lila dayan ke okakni gapshne. Na lila ota hechel iwanka. Ash le ohuta kap ki le oyate gecha le yuha yuha wanka na echa dashka hechel ichumshne. Chale council ki le 2/3 vote out. Ash and yuha lelo huta ka ki hani ata leno unki pazo tona ogana nu yamni. Chaleno me wa blana tana one block hani. No yuha lechelo huta ka ki hechel wanya ka. Ashle ahiu ki le 1 vote. Le charge oich ba ki wajilakte. Han here. Na me hechet wala kashne. Na lechel iwana kana why you ha wala kana ya wala kahana atestagni you talk chapsne. Dagni le wo pekaga ki le lila sutag hecha. Le oyate ki yuha le ukte. Ash lechela huta kabha le dag owaki dagni you talk chapsne. Ash le iwana ka hantesh le lakota oyate ta omniche. Lechelon huta kab. Hana yuha le wopeki yuhab ichukte. Na wo shake le dagni yuhaktishni. Lechel unhutaka. Oyate gecha nichachnigab. Oyate gecha lechel unhutakab. Na le enrollment. Doshke wope wan yanke. Ash Constitutional ake egnakab. Na election code. Hana yuha le wope suta unkagab na ishoyate gagab ihani. Le na boglakab ha 1934 out. Hecha misha 1934 ha unki ta tiwahe naish hana yuha ogna wana lel umshni ash lechel yishtam na lechel ahutakab na ashna unkokyakab hana ektujabshni hana echa yuha iwalakana hecha mayani ukte out na dagu lechel you talk na lechel ahutakab hunters lila oyate gecha ksue uchunokte Jin tagni warshak tagni el le ahiuki tagni el opashne. Na mema lakota na lakota wa na oyate gecha lila usha ash le lechel ahiu na ata washi luhakte na tiwahe tipi luhakte na ish huknak ki ata shikshita lel taku maska yuhashko na lecha shita na kakel shita hecha oyate wichaku ashdorni le yuta kona wopeki le danya oyate ki wichaka kapshne Chale le ake uhuta kona me toshke womblake ki acha oyate gecha kago ki kwashte na lecho oyate lila otapshne le wiktemna ake topa hana chala lechel wopeki le unkahi na unku chogna lechel uhuta kaki ogna le wana oyate gecha wichak oke hecha oyate gecha gachni gokte tiktan oji hecha ogna chim naif chim sniki ashle ata wikjamna zapta akemoji lechel unku na lechel oyate ki ake chaje oikhpe ake na lechel yachim na ish lechel yachim shne ab hana mie hecha ki walashne na lila oyate ki echa iwashte okte shne ash le unhiuta ka ki hecha uwan kana ake pasloha aya okri ki mie hecha ki walake shne Chale ogna huk oyate ki lechel ihani slolia huk hechet laka na ake huk hechet shne na hechel chimshne ashle unkokya kana me chnala umokya kana tohni le lata paslaha apshne ashto khashne ka chogna le hiuna le kata ki ogna BIA chalia ki washtekte hecho BIA wope walaka ki le each amendment honki hana chaje dona each amendment chaje ichu ki washtekte Hecha loyate ki lila tanya okachni gana stoliakte. Ashle ampete ki le hecha lila oyate ota tagni le okachni gashne. na ish alla na task force ki ab. Le oyate li la ota atash le constitution wana unhaki wankapshni na slolyapshni ke. Chahana wankam na slolyapshni hantash doshke slonyok da hai. Lechel washtekteki, naish lechel unkayushtokteki. Chinto honi wankapshne. Na he chajenich u. Na oi chakyokta. Na toya le wo pesita lechel ahiutakam hatash oyate getcha iwashtokta. Cha let me hampeteki wa here. Na ogna doshked lana chajet oish hanish hia elpshniki. Ogna VIA ki wichak unaish. Ogna le task force elham. No me toka ha hecha walaka. Ashle tu amwaji nish nupa yamni. Lata wichakachniga. Ash oyate gecha hiuna hana echa iwanka na hana echa lana gaga na oyate oichakya gagak da hecha me iblukcha ash hecha tushne. Lana task force ki echa ichuna hana ata isha unkokya kana the people. They said the people never had the right to change the Constitution. But you know what, today, this Constitution, the amendments coming forward as council, when we first selected them, we put the task force, there was only 2 people in there, to help organize that and to bring these natural leaders, bring the traditional people, bring the people that are aware to make these amendments. But it didn't happen that way. It was the task force that put it out there. It was council driven, it was council pushed, and it was council that moved this whole thing. It wasn't by the people. And a lot of our people are saying it's still the council doing it. So, ashle ompetiki lila weikjo suta unka lechel hutaka. Na iwola ka hana that task force ki uichonga dona oyate tua cha lechel chiha tua pi cha ogna le awope gaga ki hana unkoya kya ka ki hechel ogna hana awoichu kya ka unko misha waka khni ka wachi pel. Ashtoni hechel tagni yushtomshne. Okay, so, coming back to this, I made the motion to put it out there, thinking that 1 or 2 council is going to help lead some people to run this constitutional amendments or the changes. That's what I voted for. But it turned out that the council moved it, the council is doing the whole thing, it's all council data driven and whatever, so. But if you really look at it, there ain't too much changes except all our current laws are in that Constitution. The law and order codes in there, our enrollment codes in there, election codes in there, ethics codes in there, and the one that everybody that talked to me was to keep home rule in the preamble of the Constitution. And if you look at the definition of home rule, it kind of gives the government or it gives our nation the power to govern and to make laws and to help the people with making these changes. But that was removed. Home rule was removed out of there. And then we went down to look at the Dawes Act on the enrollment. That kind of really should concern a lot of people. Because in the beginning, the Dawes Act was done for the people or the tribes that was involved in that Trail of Broken Tears. And, and it's really sad that we're proposing to have everybody go back and research where they came from in 1934 and to see if your name was on that roll in 1934. And if your name was not on that 1934, and then how can they get re-enrolled? And then they're saying, well, the election or the enrollment code, we do have that. Where all these tribes, if enrollment, a child is going to be enrolled, that child parent has the right to use both tribes' blood quantum to determine the degree of Indian blood. So it's already in there. We changed that. And then we also put in there that a child born has a lineage and is automatically entitled to enrollment, as long as the parent or the guardian enrolls them. So those are all in this. So if you really look at the amendments that's coming forward, it's not really changing a lot. And the proposal, and I don't want to be a part of proposing something that's gonna change for the people and it don't happen. And that's what this is. There's a lot of amendments and just one vote. Okay, and then when you look at our records, you know, we're sitting on 1.7 million acres of land here. And then you look at the current constitution spells out how the land and how it's going to be ranged, leased, and all of that. But when the new proposal comes in, you know, there ain't too much changes to protect our land either. And that's what we should be worried about. And then there's 46,855 enrolled members here according to the BIA document. So today, you know, I'm just sitting here and I'm thinking, you know, there is 3/4 vote of this can put it on the ballot from this body. However, I think the right thing to do is that, the task force already said they're going to push it for a secretarial election. So under the CFR code, there's parts in there that has a beginning and an ending. There's a time frame in there. And according to that, each amendment has to carry a certain amount of signatures in order to get on a ballot. I think we need to look at that, and if it's going to go out for a secretarial election, that's where it should go. And then that way, you know that the people signing, because a lot of people signed this big old massive document, but they don't know which amendment. And then they're saying, I don't even know what I signed for. And I seen the signatures on some of it, and there's like one person from my district that signed it 3 times. Well, they'll decide that, you know, the enrollment office will eliminate those names and whatever. They will, but I'm just saying that we need to, if those signatures are going to be correct, you know, each amendment should carry a certain amount of signatures. And today I asked, there's some people that wanted to speak, and I don't know if you're going to allow that, President, and maybe put a time limit on there, maybe, and before we run this vote. But today, you know, I kind of feel like we need to make a decision on this. It came in, we should have put a time limit on our last administration. And then they're saying, we didn't get money from the tribal coffers, but we did. You know, we put aid to tribal government, which is tribal money, to move, and these volunteers were given a stipend or gas money or whatever. And then the document shows that there was a Bush Foundation grant that came with this in the tribe's name. So this body, the tribe did put money out there, you know, so that people, they're not volunteering, but they're getting a stipend and mileage for doing this work to look at this reform. But we were saying some of the elderlies, you know, they would like to see changes. However, it should be in a traditional form of government. And then they're afraid of this going back to the Dawes Act. And I could read what's written in the Dawes Act, and it didn't pertain to the Oglala tribe. It pertained to the Cherokees and the Seminoles and the Choctaw and them. But if you really look at it, it even tried to eliminate those head of households. It eliminated them, thinking that those tribes will eventually disappear. But they didn't disappear. But that should not be any part of our record here. And then the treaties, when they talk about the treaties, none of our treaties should ever be tangled with or inserted with IRA Act. The Indian Reorganization Act of 1934 was given to us by Congress. And at any time, if Congress wants to, by a vote or a stroke of a pen with a signature, they could remove that Indian Reorganization Act of 1934. And if our treaty language is in there, that's going to abolish our treaty power, our treaty rights, and our treaty that we all should protect and leave it out of the IRA government. Boundaries, everything. We need to keep it out of this IRA Act. And that was told to us in 2000 by our people. And I believe that. I still believe that today. And you know, a lot of our natural leaders out there, one comment that they made, and I will repeat it, is that no matter how a constitution is changed, how many times and how many ways, it's still the federal government has authority over this government and the tribe because of all the federal funding that's coming through. But, you know, when it comes down to it, and I'm going to be honest, is that this constitutional reform or this document was sent out there. And majority of what was put out there was the promise of houses and jobs and to kind of make it negative on how we sitting in here are abusing and misusing and corrupt and corruption. That's what's out there. And we all heard it. You know, I heard it from a young man in my district when they came back to ask us to undo a resolution our district is opposing, and that resolution still stands today. That our district opposes all 51 changes of this Constitution. So today, you know, that's what I came with, and I prayed, and I do have the people in my heart, and I do want to say that, you know, a small group, our district councils, there's only like maybe 6 to 10. Some of the at-large is like maybe 17 people that constitutes a quorum. But look at all the other members in that district that should these resolutions coming forward. So today, you know, I feel like we need to address this. And council, we have a lot of work to do. You know, we have to look at this FEMA, all the disasters that hit us, healthcare. You know, there's a lot of issues that we should be working on. But this, we need to either, you know, deal with it today or just give it, if it goes back towards the BI or whatever secretarial, they have the signatures, you know, we can't stop them. But that's my point today, and I hope, you know, as a fluent Lakota speaker and you know, that we always talk about keeping our people in our hearts. And I think I understand for a lot of people that are fluent in what they are saying. But we should not put it out there where all these changes, you know, the promises, I'm not going to be a part of any of that. But we need to really look at it, and like I came today, and you know, if I have to make a motion to vote no on this, and then I'm ready to do it. Hilamaya.
Aho, Wapila, Councilwoman Bear Killer. Councilman Goodcrow.
Thank you. First of all, I just would like to, there's a lot of hard work that went into this by the task force. Task force is composed of the tribal government, tribal council members. And one of the things that, and somewhat Lydia talked about, who's, should council be under or not be under, that's some of the questions that I face out there in the district. The other thing is that you look up Bush Foundation and let me ask Robin, how much dollars did Bush Foundation give to the Oglala tribe for this purpose?
$60,000.
Okay, thank you. One of the other things is that we had 3 reservations. We had Rosebud Sioux Tribe. The tribal council authorized a constitutional reform, and they appointed members out in their districts, I would say, and those individuals through a 3-year, it's close to 4 years. I remember talking to their attorney from Rosebud. And they did the constitutional reform, but the people did it, and the tribal council stayed out of it. The other one is in Red Earth Reservation. They received little over $1,500,000 to conduct a constitutional reform. Now, each one of these passed. Rosebud, all of their amendments passed except for 2, and 2 are in court. Over in Red Lake, I can't remember, but it did pass. But the people, again, the council gave that authority to the people to conduct their constitutional reform, the constitutional conventions that, and they did. I can't remember how long it took to conduct this constitutional reform, and out of that, the whole 1.5 million, they paid the people out there on the reservation, their reservation, Red Earth community, and also White Earth did the same. They received a $400,000 grant from Bush Foundation to conduct, again, White Earth, put their people to work out in the communities, and so that's just kind of basically what I wanted to bring up. And when this first started, last administration, I kind of was somewhat skeptical because I know there was something missing, and the thing that after talking with Rosebud Sioux Tribe attorney, then that kind of hit me as to the community members did the job, not the tribal council. One of the other things I looked up on the internet, and what Harvard Law School, one of their students, his name is Jason P. Hip, and this, he's the winner of the 12th Annual National Native American Student Association Indian Law Writing Competition, and this essay is composed over close to 100 pages. Now, on this, he won this particular, but I just kind of want to read what he had to say towards the end. And what he examined is the Cherokee Nation constitutional reform. They held their, from 99 to 2003, it passed, but to date, and maybe it recently passed, but the federal government hasn't accepted that particular constitutional reform. So it's still up in the air, or maybe it was passed, I don't know at this point in time. That's according to this document. And towards the end, in understanding the challenges of reform, nevertheless, common issues facing tribal reformers have been identified, including the role of existing tribal government officials in the reform process, the scale of reform, and a tendency for contentious issues such as blood quantum and membership requirements. And those are their top two issues that our people face whenever they do the constitutional reform on their particular reservations. The other thing is, in going on just the next paragraph, first, defining the respective authority of existing tribal government officials and tribal members ensures endorsement, also deters obstructionism from existing tribal officials, and encourages genuine buy-in from the people. Okay, so that's some of the what this particular student had to write on his essay regarding constitutional reform. And so that's just kind of, I wanted to put that out there, and I think that, I don't know if the tribal council started right or wrong on this whole issue, but I think that in my research, I think that it should have been given to the people, and let them take care of this constitutional reform. Red Earth Tribal Council gave the Economic Development Office to go after grants, so they went after that 1.5 million and to give to the government and on to the people to do the work for constitutional reform. And so then we also had Terry Jennings from Manderson who assisted White Earth Reservation. He's a tribal member, but he knows quite a bit about this constitutional reform, and especially in White Earth Reservation. So that's kind of basically what did I bring up, and in this whole thing. And again, I'll say that it should have been given to the people. We should have went after more dollars from Bush Foundation. They can authorize if you request, and that's the name of their game, is to assist with tribe reservations to conduct constitutional reform. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Goodcroft. Councilwoman Merdanian.
Thank you. I think if we were able to finish, we could address some of the confusion that some council are having in regards to this whole effort and where it began. And I guess my question is that it has come from the people, and in the past, this whole initiative and the amount of work that has gone into this endeavor and this effort. Again, I remind council that this strategic plan was passed by council. Therefore, it needs to go back to council. That's what's stated within the strategic initiative plan. So I remind you to please read that. Not only that, if we look at the language within that, there's some confusion again in regards to the Dawes rolls. That was passed in 1932 on the Pine Ridge Reservation. And that blood quantum came from a federal legislation, which is the Wheeler-Howard Act. That is 17 articles. In the 17 articles, it states in there blood quantum. So that's where it came from. As far as looking at other tribal nations, yes, we have. That's why I mentioned the Native Nation Rebuilders, because they went through 2 years of training, who invested and assisted us in this endeavor, and they were not given a stipend or mileage. With that, we did apply to the Bush Foundation through the Native Governance. We awarded the largest grant, $60,000, first time ever. We do have a letter from them in regards to that. Not only that, this grassroots initiative, well, why wasn't it done in the previous amendments to the Constitution? Why wasn't it ever done then? And with that, I also have a question for council. If it should be going back to our community, then what has each and every one of you done to take it back to your community And where's your documentation to show that? Because definitely we worked really hard at documenting every step of this process. It's on video, it's on KOLC. You can find all of this information documented. And so with that, it did come from the people. And grassroots initiatives did try to start this before. And what happened? They got shut down. Didn't go anywhere. And so in Rosebud, all of theirs did pass. But that's why it's important to have a strategic plan to follow, because those people, along with experts in that area that came to assist those individuals, had the council pass a resolution prior that they would not interfere even though it contradicted their laws. And it did pass, all of them. And so with that, other tribal nations are looking to the Oglalas because we are setting precedents. We have other tribal nations watching us and what we're doing because we're being accountable and we're being visual and showing what the people said. Now, with that, I know there's this confusion of one vote. I don't know where that came from, but let me clarify that. 2/3, not 3/4, but 2/3 of council can send this forward to a secretarial election. Allow the people to vote on each and every 50 amendments, each one, yes or no, up and down the list, yes or no. That's all you're doing, council. That's all you're doing. And that's all we're asking you to do, is please move this forward to a secretarial election. Let the people vote yes or no on each and every amendment. And there's only 50. So keep in mind, when you did the amendments in 2008, you guys changed 9 of the 17 articles in 2008. And we gave you that research from the beginning when it was passed, and we gave you that table of all the amendments that happened up to that time. And we researched it. We looked back. We wanted to see how it was done, but there was no documentation as to how it was done. So with that, we do say it came from the people because these are their solutions. We only moved it forward and finding the resources to make it happen, to have those meetings. And with that, if we were able to finish our presentation, we would show you that budget of how much money went back into our communities. So with that, I ask you, relatives and friends, to please let the people decide on this. Let them have a vote, yes or no, on each and every amendment.
Thank you, Councilwoman Merdanian. Councilwoman Little Hawk Weston.
Le ampetu ki yuha chanten apet papi, especially to our visitors in the audience today and all of our listening Oyate out there in Kili across the reservation. You know, I just want to say today that, you know, I'm going to really make a good decision today on behalf of our Oyate, and I'm going to vote from my heart today. You know, about a week and a half ago, I had an accident, and, you know, I injured my leg and part of my face here. I was kind of at home recuperating, kind of healing. And during that time, I took time to read this binder that the task force gave the tribal council and look at all of the Constitution today that we are supposed to abide by. And also the draft that was presented to us. And I also represent a district, Wakpamni district. And I want to say today that we also receive calls within our district itself about their concerns about the constitutional amendments. So I have to be respectful and be mindful about that. So today, first of all, I just want to thank the task force for putting a lot of work into this effort. And back last May 2017, when we assigned this, the constitutional, the task force, when we appointed them, you know, that was my understanding also, was that they were going to go out and start working on the constitutional amendment and come back to committee so that we could review it before we brought it on to tribal council. But I think since then, it's been always, in some way, it's been always being brought directly to the tribal council. And yes, the tribal council did eventually approve it to do the strategic planning of it. But as I was reading the Constitution today and what is in place, I want to bring the attention to the tribal council that we ourselves violated the the Constitution when we met back in Wakpamni Lake. And as I was reading through it, one of our amendments in 2008 was that if we were to call a special council meeting, we were supposed to do it in written statement. But if I recall, we met that night till about 11 o'clock that night, finishing our constitutional meeting. And during that time, Ms. Tapio brought this meeting on the tribal council floor. And I was thinking to myself, you know, where was our attorney? But I remembered our attorney went to Medicine Root District that night to address some issues with Medicine Root District Council. So I know everyone was tired that night, but Ms. Tapio brought that on the floor and said, we want a secretarial meeting. We want a meeting. We want a special meeting to address the constitutional reform. There was a motion made and a second, and it ran. And if you look in our Constitution today, we were to do that by written statement. And in the past, we've always done that. When we wanted a special meeting, the Secretary's office would have a letter for us to sign to say we want a special meeting for certain agenda items. So we ourselves as tribal council violated the Constitution that's sitting there today. We did not follow it. So we need to take responsibility for that. When today we want to put on our people, our Oyate 50 amendments, we overhaul the whole Constitution of the Oglala Sioux tribe. And I read through every single page and I compared the Constitution today to the 50 amendments. And there's some things in there that my people in my district have concerns about too. And I have to address that today too. I think today we need to think back about what this President of the United States is trying to do to reservations. And our elders in our district are concerned about that. Are we opening the door to our own tribe? Our tribe is one word that always stood out to one of our very respectful elders in our district of Wakpamni, the late Lekshi, Mr. Holy Rock, who is no longer here. But he always said in that preamble, don't ever take away that home rule. Home rule means something to us as a tribe, and our people need to understand that. It gives us the inherent authority as a tribe. When we go to Washington, D.C., or we go anywhere to fight for our tribe, it gives us that authority. A lot of us in this circle do go to D.C. to do legislative work to help our people. So today I want to say that as one of the tribal council leaders. So when we took away that home rule, we took away some of the authority of us as the tribe. And we need to look at that. When I look back at 1934, I wasn't even born then, but we had our tribal elders back then that didn't have degrees like us today. Did not have education. They had their own way of making good decisions for us, for the future of our people. They had common sense, and they were able to make good decisions back in 1934, and that's why today we have an IRA government, which we never chose, but it was chosen by our forefathers, our leaders. And today we want to take away all of that, 50 amendments to it. And I was thinking about our unchis and our kakas and all of them that are going to stand in the ballot box on the secretarial election day, and they're going to sit there. How long is it going to take for them to vote? They're going to have to read every one of those 50 amendments. And they got to understand what they are voting on. So we need to think about them. We need to think about our people. It may be okay for us because some of us in this circle are educated. I'll say today that I'm not a dumb person. I'm also educated in my own way. One of the things that I always say is that I have common sense as a tribal leader. And I want to say also today that I got to look out for our people on how they're going to vote for the 50 amendments. And one thing I will also say today that, 1,200 and something people does not justify 45-something thousand people that we have on this reservation. And where that came from was an article by Native Sun News, and I was going to bring that paper. Miss Nakina Mills made a statement in there saying that if we don't vote here today, passing these 50 amendments, that the Secretary of Interior is going to go ahead and move forward once they get the signatures, and they will move forward. But the only thing that's going to happen is that they're going to put it on one ballot, and they will have a yes and no vote to that. So that's where that came from. And I was going to bring the paper today because I really felt today on my way coming, I got calls from elderlies and saying, we don't want to vote on one ballot with 50 amendments because we might like some of it, but we might not like some of it. But does that mean we have to vote on one ballot? So we as tribal council, we were voted in here by our people within these 9 districts. And we understand that. Oyatiki, we understand that. But what I'm saying today is that we represent a district also. And so I want to also say that, we got to be careful of how, you want to push this forward. Because those are my thoughts as one of the tribal leaders for Wakpami district. We have over 3,000 people in our Wakpami district today. And last year in January, our district fought hard to push for one more representative for our district. And our district did the work that was called for in the Constitution. And we brought it to this council and we passed it. Council passed it. So this election year, we got one more representative representing Wakpami district. Along with Pine Ridge Village and Medicine Wood district, we're also one of the big districts. And there's things in here that are going to change that. So our district also has concerns. So I'm going to say today that I can't fully support this, but I do want to thank the task force. I read it, and I want to thank you because it's a lot of work in there. But one thing I was lacking is I wanted to see those sign-in sheets that match those numbers that you had up there for every one of those meetings that you had up there. I'd like to see those because I want to see that when I'm making a good, sound decision on behalf of the Oyata, that I can say, oh yeah, they were right. I can honestly make those kinds of decisions on behalf of our people. So today, I'm going to say as one of the district council representatives for Wakpami district, I also have a district that has concerns, and I just can't fully support the 50 amendments. Today, I'm sorry, But I want to thank you guys for all the hard work you guys put into it. You guys, like you said, boots on the ground. You guys was running all over the reservation, getting signatures clear up to last night, you know. I know that's a lot of work. You guys did it. So, Wopila, you know, Wopila for that. That's why we voted, you know, through Law and Order Committee. But again, I always think that that should have came back to Law and Order Committee. Let us review it first before we would have just put it onto the tribal council. Maybe we could have alleviated a lot of what we're talking about today. We could have said, okay, well, let's talk about this, let's talk about that before we move it on. But one thing I want to say that when we worked on it, we should work from our heart. Even our Oyate needs to understand that. Work from the heart. You know, but when you start bad-mouthing and you start getting negative, that's not Wola Kota Oyate. That's not Wola Kota. Some of us were raised that way. We were raised in respectful homes. We got respectful people, parents, grandparents that taught us that. So let's treat each other like that. Let's treat each other with respect in this circle and in our visiting audience. I want to say this morning, thank you to our relative, Mr. Martin, because the elderly woman said to me, remember that opening prayer. Our people need to always remember the opening prayer, because prayer means a lot when you open up a meeting. And our prayer is something that we need to think about that. So I want to, you know, say Wopila to Mr. Martin. And I just want to say also that today we need to make a good decision on these amendments, because this is going to affect our people years to come. When you talk about separation of powers, I looked at that one too and I said, okay, is our people, do they honestly know what separation of powers means when it comes to our judicial branch of government? Judicial government, when something happens in that court, and you may not be happy with that court issue, what happens a lot of times is it comes to tribal council because you're not happy about something that took place in that court. And when you come to the council floor and you want the council to deal with that judge, that is not separation of powers, Oyate. So do we understand when we're saying what we're wanting separation of powers? Yes, I agree. Let's put judges in there. And council needs to stay away from that court. Let the judges do their work. But when people don't get what they want done, if they feel they were treated unfairly, they didn't get the things that they wanted done in that court, then they run to Law and Order Committee or they run to tribal council. And guess what we have to do? We have to deal with that judge. And that's not a true separation of power. So think about it. Not only us as tribal leadership, but our Oyate across the reservation. That's what's going to happen. And I'm one tribal leader that's going to put it on the floor because that's the way I feel. And my people in my district of Wakbamni elected me to be their voice. They had the confidence to vote for me since 2006, sitting in the circle. I've been through good times, I've been through bad times, but I've never given up on my people. I've never given up on the Oyate. So today I'm just going to say that let's be careful on how we move some of these amendments forward. Some of these amendments, I will honestly say some of these amendments are good, but I will not vote on a ballot that says all 50 amendments and then vote yes or no. Our people need to know that. And when that came from the task force themselves on the paper, then that told me that's where it's going to happen if the Secretary of Interior does it. So I think we need time to review this, and our attorney needs time to review it, And if it has to go back to Law and Order Committee, then so be it. But we need to decide on something today, Tribal Council. Thank you. Wapila.
Wopila, Councilwoman Little Hawk Weston. Councilwoman Mills.
So again, if we were allowed to finish, we probably would have been able to really go into some detail about what some of those 50 amendments would look like. And back on the wall back there was one of our presentations of what we would kind of explain what some of those amendments would look like. I don't, due to not having the time, I just wanted to clarify. So a secretarial election isn't done like going to a poll. It is done through the mail. So you will receive a registration card in the mail. You fill it out, you send it back. Then any proposed amendments you would get in the mail. So you would be able to sit down, take the time, make an informed decision, and you select yes or no. That's what a secretarial election is. So I wanted to clarify that. And then the other piece, so we have a current petition out on draft 7, which is in your packets. And that's the second way the people can allow to have some votes in a secretarial election. So that's what Miss Councilwoman Sonia Little Hawk Weston was referring to. This petition is according to our Constitution, and us as me prior being a facilitator and then being a task force member, and being at these meetings and hearing one of the very first meetings that I facilitated, a person said to me at those meetings, what are you going to do to guarantee that I have a right to vote, that I'm going to see a ballot and I'm going to be able to vote on it? That's what was said to me. And I wasn't a council person at the time. And I took that to heart, because really the position I was sitting at then, I couldn't guarantee that. But I committed to this process, and I committed to help with this process to be able to, have the people be able to have an opportunity to vote. So whatever we decide to do as elected a body, that I think it's important, and that we allow that right. So I just wanted to clarify that. I also wanted to give the floor to open the floor up to people that are here that have come a long ways to share some input. So Ms. Shirley, I would like to give the floor to you. And then I know Ms. Ross here in the back would like to say something, so I will give the floor to you too.
Oh, Pilamia, Mitrat name ki Shirley Poor Thunder. I came here this morning, number one, on behalf of my family. And those of you that know me as a Red Cloud. My grandfather is the one that has established this reservation. And we need not forget that, and I'm not going to forget it. And what is proposed here today, on behalf of the people, I want to say one thing. I appreciate the knowledge, the skills, and the opportunity that you have given to this community to take a look and participate in what you did. And all the documentation that you did describe and share with the people, I feel is really something that we should say, finally, somebody has listened to us and has demonstrated what could be done. I have mixed emotions about this Constitution, but my biggest thing right now is take it to the people. Let the people decide. Let us decide what is going to benefit us, enhance us, and that's what this task force had given us that opportunity. And I made that commitment when I attended that Red Cloud meeting, and I said I will be there to support this after I reviewed it. I do have my own knowledge and skills. in my past, and when I first read this whole Constitution, I asked Ms. Berdanian, where did you get this from? Because I recognized this constitutional process when I worked for the Administration for Native Americans, and I worked with Leech Lake and some of those tribes in Michigan and Minnesota. This process is utilized by them. So if you're not sure of what you're doing, then I would suggest that you go ahead and meet with those tribes and see what is happening and how it's benefited them. Because this is an opportunity that we have to go through this process. I do have some concerns. I have a concern, number one, I don't live in Pine Ridge. I don't have that opportunity to vote because I live in Rapid City. And I chose to live in Rapid City because my mother moved to Rapid City. My mother was a diabetic. My mother had to drive from Pine Ridge to Rapid City every day for 2 hours, be on dialysis 4 hours, drive back to Pine Ridge for 2 hours. And when she became diabetic, she said, I can't do this. So we moved to Rapid City. We own a home in Rapid City. It is our family home. And I don't have that opportunity to vote. Never had that opportunity to vote. Even though I go to Richard Table, where my father's from, to try to vote. I still put my vote in there. It probably doesn't count, but that's what I have been doing. So I think that this Constitution reform is great. I have some concerns about our districts. If you can make the Pine Ridge community a district, I don't know when that was done, then I would say you should also make the Hisapa a district in Rapid City. Because I feel that Pine Ridge has 3 council people, and they should be part of Wakabamni, if you look at that area description. So when we have situations of imbalance, then we need to take a look and make sure that it is equitable for all of our tribal members, and that you do on behalf of all of us and allow us that opportunity. So on one hand, I say I support this Constitution, and I understand that there are some areas of concern by tribal members, but let us people vote on it. Let us say if this is good or this is bad. You put a lot of effort into this. I appreciate the staff and the participants in the task force that have done this, and I acknowledge that because it was a lot of work. And the documentation that you have proposed and that you have identified to me as a great process. And I would hope that as you go through as council people and you do things, really present your rationale for why you're doing it and show the pros and cons for what you're doing. That hasn't been exposed in the past that I have observed or recognized, and I think you have the opportunity to do that now. And I know that at this last minute, people are concerned because this is a decision that has to be made by you, the council people, at a time when you probably have mixed feelings as I do. But like I said, give the people the opportunity to make that decision. Pilamaya.
Thank you. Councilman Yellowhawk.
I think they could. We had one more, sorry.
Okay. Sorry, Councilman.
Good afternoon. My name is Maggie Ross, and I came here to talk on behalf of the task force. I'm from the Porcupine District, Oblaya community, and my mom is Sharon Cooney. You know, she worked for the tribe for like 48 years. She retired last year. So she's kind of like my reason for getting involved, because she worked in the Tribal Employment Rights Office, and it kind of taught us how to stand up for ourselves and speak for ourselves. I wanted to tell you that there's some history that doesn't get told. And some of you were there. I think Craig was there, Jim was there, Jim Meeks, Lydia was there, and I think Cora was there. Back in 1990 or 2000 actually, because it started in 1999 when we started the grassroots Oyate's effort to change the Constitution. And in 2000, an election was had and a new council was seated. And that council, Philip was there too, my Lexi. Anyway, so we started that process. And at that time, a constitutional task force was created, and it was created by the people. I mean, they said it's going to be the people, and it was, and we went out and we did the same thing that this task force is doing. We went out to the communities. Sometimes we were meeting in, having community meetings in trailer houses or just under a shade or wherever. But we went out, we made our rounds and round and round and round. And we came back to the council, and the council tabled it and said, you have to go back out to the people. And so we did. We went back out to the people, and nothing happened. It never came back to council. And so I campaigned, and after a while it was me by myself. There was me and Anita that tried to carry it as long as we could. And we went on the radio and we did our Sunday morning constitutional revision hour. We continued to go out into the community. We were collecting signatures. We did all of that stuff. And yet nothing happened. And then I think in 2008, the council itself said we want to amend the Constitution, and so you guys did so. And you called for a secretarial election. I attended the Porcupine presentation that was held for the constitutional revision. I was there, my Uncle Philip was there. We participated. Nakina brought that back to us in May or June, I don't remember exactly when. My whole family signed for it because we want to do this. We have a right to do that. And I understand and appreciate all the concerns that you have, that you say that maybe it's this or maybe it's that. And I understand that you all have a power. You have a vote. You have the capability to move this forward or not to move it forward. I understand that, and I believe the people understand that. But just like you guys, you have the right to make a vote. You have a right to make a decision. You need to give that to us. We are the people. You represent us. We are the people. We have the ability to say yes or no. Not all of it I agree with, but I agree with some of it. And I believe people have the right to vote. That's what this IRA Constitution is about, the right to vote. That's what they gave us. They said we were going to be a democracy. People get to vote. We shouldn't be afraid of that. We should want to be able to vote. You should give it to us. Because this is going to go on. I guarantee all of you guys and all of us in this room are going to pass away one of these days. We're going to meet the Maker. And there's going to be generations that come behind us that we should want to make this better. And we just need to work together. My uncle, he would go out. He'd come talk to us sometimes. I haven't seen him much lately. But he'd come out and talk to us. What do you think? How do you feel about that? You're sitting here saying that you have your concerns. Well, you should have done that too. You should have been there with them. Because I know what it's like. We didn't even have money. They created a task force in 2000 and didn't even give us money. I did that out of my own pocket. Drove around, talked to people. I know that burden. I'm glad these guys got something, but I didn't get nothing. I mean, they even passed us a budget, but never gave us any money. Never did nothing with it. And so it seems like it doesn't even matter. It could come from the people, or it can come from the council, or it can come, you guys don't want change. In 2000, when we started it, it was because you guys as a council, there was an $8 million bond that was on the table, and we were opposing it as a people. Gee, $8 million is nothing now. You guys are getting like $28 million bonds. And in 2008, you guys did an amendment or something where there was supposed to be a vote of the people. You have to take those bonds and loans to the people, and you're not even doing it. And you still come and you sit at the council and you vote yes. You vote for it. So when you're concerned about violating the Constitution, you do that anyways. So why are you being mad about the Constitution being brought up in an unconstitutional way to the agenda? Because you're violating it anyways. When we voted to separate that court, what did you do? You removed the chief judge. There's no consequence for your behavior. That's what we want. We want you guys to represent us, and we want to be proud of that. I'm Oglala Lakota. I'm enrolled here. My friend earlier was talking about membership. My son, he still is not enrolled here. No matter what even tribal council told the enrollment office, they don't even listen to you guys. So I don't know what the problem is. I think that you guys need to support this and let us vote. If we want to vote no, that's going to come to my mailbox. I'll vote no if I don't agree with it. Let us all have that opportunity. Don't be taking our voice from us. If we're believing in Wola Kota, then let's believe in Wola Kota and let's do it. Let's all have a voice. Don't be afraid. Life goes on. There's good things out there for all of you. You don't have to worry about it. We don't. We learn to struggle with the people, with ourselves. Let's have change. I specifically want to say that to my Porcupine representatives. I ask that you vote and you support this. And you let me have a voice at the ballot. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Yellowhawk. Councilman Yellowhawk.
Thank you, Mr. President. And listening to all the comments and then a presentation by the task force, you know, they're commended for doing a lot of work. And of course, they don't want to let it fail. But you know, the people decide whether they're going to accept it or not. So all the work that's been done, the people may reject. It's the people out here, they have the power and authority. When we talk about the Constitution, this is the people. In 1934, IRA, that was a generic constitution that was passed out to all Indian tribes throughout the country. And it was accepted by 2-3 votes by members of the tribe who don't understand the Constitution or not able to read the Constitution. If I was there at that time, I would reject that IRA government and the Constitution. But think back in 1934, most of you aren't here, but your parents were here. Who are the chiefs that accepted this? A lot of times there were a lot of gifts given to the members of the tribe. You know, sign it. Here's a blanket. There's a horse. That's the way the non-Indians treated the tribes at that time. It's not only here, but all throughout the country. I've conducted secretarial elections. I revised constitutions, worked with Indian tribes throughout the country. I talked to Cora about this because the fact that this originated out of the Law and Order Committee. When it originated out of the Law and Order Committee, my basic instinct would be, well, okay, you create a task force to the Law and Order Committee, they're supposed to come back and report to you. This has not even been done by legal review by our attorneys. We got to be careful on what we're doing. I will support this with legal review, go back to committee, and come up for a vote. I come here today just thinking, okay, they just want to represent the changes. It was not supposed to come here and vote. We were supposed to talk about it. If it goes back to committee, we'll have a legal review, maybe everything's in order. There's too many times that we sign documents as a tribal council and tribal members without really understanding what we're doing. Let's do it right. We're not such a darn big hurry that we got to get it done, but we got to do it right. This is something that mess up people's lives out there. And then we have council members making change. They may not be making change, but from all appearances, this is a council revisions. The task force I see are done by the people, community members. We should have at least 2 representatives from Wombly, Eagle Nest, who I represent, or all the other districts. Let them decide what they want to see. And looking at this, I come from the work I do this kind of stuff. In all appearances, what's going to happen after people reject that? It's a council constitution. And these revisions that were done, 69, 85, 97, 2008, the people made the changes. Lakota people, Oyate, Malakotelo, Nahechet. So I speak for my people, my district. Too many times we were left out because of the Constitution. It's not in the Constitution. The lease agreements, our land base is disappearing because a lot of people are taking their land out of trust. These are some of the issues that affected enrollment. I was led to believe all these years that the Oglalas, you gotta be at least 1/4 Indian. It's descendancy. You don't even have to be, it's very little Indian blood, you're a member of the tribe. With all the Lakotas. When I left here, we all spoke Indian. Lakota. Wana ata washitu. So let's go back to being Lakotas. Trust. That's what I believe in. That's the way I was raised. I was raised by the older people. I'm older than most of you guys here. But traditionally, let's go back to tradition. The Constitution doesn't even recognize tradition. Whatever happened to, we talk about, I was looking at Law and Order Code. You have to get a marriage license from the superintendent to get married. Them days are over. And most, some members here had to get permission from the superintendent to get married. What happened to traditional Lakota ways of getting together and just, move on, live together. Now put legal documents on it. Now we're just messed up in the ways. Let's go back to our traditional ways and put in a constitution and abide by our treaties. Our treaties should be separate from the Constitution. This Constitution is given to us by the non-Indian world, the Anglos from Europe. So at this point, I'm going to second the motion to send it back to Law and Order, have a legal review, and come back for a vote. If everything's in order, I would vote for it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Yellowhawk. Councilman Laisbeth.
Thank you, Chair. First of all, I'd like to kind of open it up and explain when, like Mr. Goodcrow said that, let's take it back to the people. Because the reason why I said that is because if I was to create a document, me as a tribal council, and I said, people, you vote on it, that ain't fair. Meaning, when we take this back to the people, let the people create their own documents and then bring it to council. Because if I created this for the people, that wouldn't be fair. Because let the people create their own documents on what they want to see in the Constitution. Then bring it forward to the council, to the committees. So have the people give us an understanding of where we are, what direction that we need to go. And just like when you look at Mr. Yellowhawk there, when he said that constitutions are different from the treaties. Yes, they are different. Because when you look at the treaties, all the 58, 68, because it goes back to lineal descendants. Article 6 of the Constitution states that treaties is the supreme law of the land. Then when you go back to the treaties, it goes back to the descendants. Don't open things that you cannot answer. You cloak up no can of worms. Because ksurnich apikta. Lu cloak up hata. Wo wa jaki wuchashi chatin chela najipe. Wo prelina ya pasib hanta. Yellow hawk solink dieta. La kota wiaji wa shichu use a hanta wo wa jashin. Hina wo prekianke. Hasa panis hina hechata wo wa jayaniche. Wa kanja wichung chachi kitagni wo wa janicham. Hocha wakta ichuk umpiktelina unchlokab hanta. Wo prelina tala unkara pikte. People get a wichung chuki. Honake people get a doctor apia ki unka uki ho doctor aminuki chaktelo. Ja, waheha ipkinkta nahal nupa hiota kapi. If, Mr. President, I have two people that want to talk. If you could let them, they'll appreciate it. Joyce. Joyce and Dwayne.
Ho le o prekiha lila wopila e chichape le woa glakawa chincha ionya pikihe wopila e trankaye takwa imanka mechahe de akewahi itroka Martin ta de chachi akiwita peha wa ia shechachi woglak makiapsni na kele wahiki ha woyunge wakahe woglak waki he preach hiai akiwita lapsni as hechena le woglak wachincha washichuki ishe de takuwa wopre au trabla pikile council ki au trabla pikile Washichuki kakapi. Na washichuki echa henana o tabiakte. Chawain iglakape. Ni washichupe. He chakti ishemele mitrawachina he on. Do kerti gas takon e prawachi le o apreki. Chekbiki wankigakape. Skawi chashaki ye chelea chekbi lu happy he. Ho he chet wanit iwawint init agakapi hanta le ohom na kaki le na yohila ni trawa chimpiki ha skawi chashaki ha new talk japi he oyate mitraki ha ota taku e hapina taku e chanopina taku okachnik wich uya apisni ikteaker wo e chunki ha justa ye api na takne okachnik uya apisni ta he hanke ale akewa u doketu kash le ampetiki ha takon e prawachi ki he nilakho tapi hanta le wo prebe na taku yitrok tapi chimpiki le na kushea ina chimpiki ha oni tapi na ha nako oyate ki ha atas taku untra chimpiki ha solia pisniash district pa elwatiki ha hetang representatives our witakachni kapi hoina echa mitrawa chinki antos ke nawashenki solapishni ash skawi chasha trawo prekta Diana Jibinchi yehena representatives chahina echa niglachni kapi na ha lel nangkapi na yu ha oyate ki ha taku unchimpiki solia pishni ash tuktel untipi hanta he district ki ha eta unhibi keapi na unyawapi na taku ota unchimpishni ash patita ya kuapi na hanke ash na tuktel ukna unchimpishniash yakagapina lustambi chahe chale ochicha kokte chawahi akesle chala representative unki trapiki ha ashna ehani hochstolapi
Have to slow it down. Wrap it up.
why
Wrap it up because we need to move on.
That's another part that the white people have control over us is the time limit. But that is also a factor that can be manipulated by the people in control. And it just so happens the council is in control right here. And that's why you represent us, but people can't talk because there's time limit constraints on what you want to hear and what you don't want to hear. What's out in the real world of the tribe? Makoche kile ota makoche uyu happy. Nahatako ota unke happy unchimbi ash helana ela awachani pishni. Here in oapreptete chatanka ne echan unkte. If there is a limit in time for what people say, council, you need to have that ear for what the people say You may limit us, but you can't limit what is said. You can limit us to a lot of things, but I'm full blood. I was on this reservation all my life, but I went away to school and I have a master's degree today in education. How many of you in council have a master's degree? So you think that you can govern a nation? Chitaku ota hechikche e pawachin as you limit me. You limit me to what I want to say. Na le ma full blood preke that is a precedent in written documents that you have. It's us who are going to determine our future, not the tribal council, not the women that are making this constitution revision. Our future is ours, and if we want a better future, listen to us. And if you don't listen to us, you're always going to stay in that rut of tribal council. And it has not been good for us. But how many times, how many of us as people have to say that till you understand? Oyakach ni kapishin tayo, lecha na kapi na tako un chimpi, ke happy na shna, hinaita un vote happy. Ashena heche dushni. Ehani, tungashila le nankaki le yanke. Na hetan wati ta grandma and grandpa o watita. Hetashna council meeting yatashna kichible. Na le chair na kagle chektiankacha floral shnamke. Ho hechikche taku ota navajo na taku ota shite kiha naku ianke kiha navajo. Mazaska olota un kiepe un iachupinaha nie aniglusotapi ske. Hechikche navajo. As lehantagni soleshi yechelia o makuapi. A kisle talal witacho iena o apreptetela chahe hala tagni esnioe. As here le nakaki le na unkie o yate ki euniki nakapi. Chi o yate unki trapi ki iwa unki chankana. Ie tukter tipim hena el egnagna uyankapi na he dwa tayang wong kichiga kakte ki ha. Saluyan picha, hena echalena eunigan copy. As the actor japi anchna, Johan elilo takapcha. Hektakia, Havektakia, President Berener, Oakeke. White House ekta ikiha, Lila Oyateki hecha, they're negative. Hecha ata Lila negativity otake. Ta heom hepre. Hia nie unitakni kapcha. Nie hechinina womia kichiga kaktik sropre. Ini tipi kiha wa uyan kapina ha. Aske beraner wet ha kiha. Kawe oyang ke ta Julian henan yuha. Cha washa ke yuha ki he on hena o kihi cha ke oakia ke. Hia voti chitio cha henana wo matiga kuntra chai he. Cha he chik che le e uniginan kaki le na skawi chashat kawichoye hope happy. We have a hope for our future as a Oglala Lakota nation that the changes that are needed will be made by our elected officials. But if you don't do it, somebody else will jump in and do it. And that's the way I feel about the women in this revision force. Dagne tana pishincha yechena echumpi taku echunkum teki echa echumpi. As omani oyateki ha taku chimpi ki ha nauya humsini. Nie taku echanum pia chimpium hena echa echanum pi. Na le o hapke ha taku o aga kinke ki he ni troksha etwampe. Lila oglala la kota ki ha unkotapi. Le chalas dona tapi kishke. As hena echa wainchangisni director Lakota ki handel washi echumpi teki ha. They have no education. They have no way of doing the work that this man can do. Eunkapi, a director. And this director is not full blood. Otherwise, I would listen to what she had to say. But she's just taking up for this man that abused me as an elderly. And she was the first person I told, but she took up for him. So when it happened again, I told Dean Patton, hoping that something would be done. But nothing was done again. What power does a director and Dean Patton have in situations like mine? And because this person is a non-member. And so I finally took it upon myself, and I have it today with me. If you don't know, in 1973, Dick Wilson made an ordinance, and there are conditions that the people had to meet before some results would happen. And the man met the conditions for abusing me as an elderly, but nothing is happening. And as it stands, I'm taking all of them to court. I'm not coming here. I just heard a criticism that people come here before the council when something doesn't happen at the courts. I heard that, and so that was kind of like an okay, you go to the court. Because you're powerless is what that person is saying. You're powerless according to the laws that govern the land. That govern the land that belongs to me. How can that be allowed by our council? See, there are very deep items in our living on the reservation. I've lived here all my life on the reservation. I saw the road, the asphalt road in front of, that comes to Wounded Knee. I saw that when it was just a dirt road. And then it became gravel. And then it came the black. And then now it's asphalt. And I'm sorry to say, I haven't seen any change in our government as I saw in the road. In that 50 years, the road was made better 4 times. But during that time, our tribal government was not made better 4 times. It was not even made better once, because the same things are happening today as were happening when my grandpa was sitting where you're sitting. And when I look back at things like that, I feel, oh, I shouldn't say anything, just let them do what they're doing. But my grandchildren are growing up on the reservation. They're going to live here. They're going to be in a place where Julian is someday. Those children growing up. So we have to work together and make this a better place to grow up in. No criticism. If that's the way they want to do it, so be it, is where I stand with the council today. If that's the way you're going to govern me, it's fine with me. But you have to put up with some of the things I have to say, because I live on the reservation. I've lived here all my life. And have you made it better for me? I'm sorry, but I have to say no. You didn't make my life better within that span of 50 years. I still eat food from the trash can. I still eat food, commodities. And see, nothing has really changed because you didn't help us. Maybe there's food stamps. You know, maybe there are better things, but you don't tell us. You just get it and get the money for yourselves, not for the people. And see, those are some of the difficulties that one may recognize in living on the reservation. But where did you come from? Are you full blood? Who's your mom and dad? See, all those come into play when you're going to care for your people. And I know, Oscar Barron, we were at the 73 occupation in Wounded Knee. And I know that Julian is from good material. And so we just have to keep him encouraged, because every now and then I would bake something and take it to him so he will get more energy in the demands of his body when he has to go, even during the past storm. He was out there helping the people that were helping us. Now that's a leader. Have you done something like that for the communities that you come from. See, there are many little items like that we as people look at you and wonder where you came from. Maybe you're from the South Pacific, like the man that abused me on the transit, and the director and Dean Patton are taking up for him. Maybe Dean and Emma are from the South Pacific, for all I know. But see, there are many things like that we as full blood are faced with every day. And I have to depend on the transit to get here and there on the reservation. Because I used to have a car, but since I got blind in one eye, I can't drive anymore. And, you know, just various things like that. Okay, here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Unchi Joyce, about your incident that you're talking about, just to let you know that I referred it to the legal department, and as soon as they get a date, they'll get with you to help to resolve the complaint that you have. At this time, Councilman Wilson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I got two district members that would like the floor, Miss Leona and Joey. Here's Leona. Thank you.
Oh, good afternoon, everybody. And this is my first time being in the council floor, and since all those years. But I'm just thankful to be here, and I need to say, Daku e Prawachimisha, Daku e Pichashni, Ota e Priktana, we're not chantek suye, we're showing the search as the now ukitop. This is our floor, the council is here, and this is our district, and we have rights to hold the floor. We have rights to speak the longest we want. It doesn't matter. It's us. What's violation is violation. We need to speak on this stuff, especially elders. We have rights to, we are the landowners. We are the full blood. So we have rights of all these things. And you just, like somebody said here, you can't control us. It doesn't you that's going to control the council. We are the people that control, because we is a person that elected them. If it wasn't for us, where would they be? Because look at, when they came here, they vote for them, we vote for them. We're the one that vote them in. We got the biggest vote. You come here to get your vote. Just, Mr. Chairman, he knows that. And we talk to him. Us elders talk to him before election. We talk to him all the time. And he can't say no. He can't tell me what to do. I'm here because I elected you. I have rights to speak on this floor. And if I have to say anything, I will say it. It hurts your feelings, it doesn't hurt your feelings, but you did have a lot of violation. There's a lot of violation done to our Lakota people. So when are you gonna set up straight and get yourself straight? Sit like a man. Sit like a man. Don't hide your face. And the ladies, you need to do the same. So she's talking about her stuff, but she's an elder. Now I am an elder too, but she needs to speak her language. She has rights to speak her language. So you could sit here all evening, listen to her. She's talking deeply with Lakota language. And if you have an interpreter, you guys have to get an interpreter to interpret all that. I'm here, but I'm heading out, and I want to speak. But these guys are hiding their face. And now I just find out where they're sitting. They should be sitting tall so I could see where they are. But they're hiding their face. And the Kyle people are here. So you need to wake up these three guys. They have to wake up. They're not going to just put the money in their pockets. I want some of that money. You know what? That storm came. There's a lot of elders don't have no gas, electricity, food, and a lot of them got sick. Where were these guys? I kept calling Chauncey's phones and ringing. Is she with the cows or the horses? Where is he? What about me when I need help? Where? They need to be told. They need to hear me. He's elected the third round. So he's got to behave. He's got to help the people. We need the people. The people need you. Now. The people need you, so you have to wake up and do what you have to do. Do what we ask you to do. And this is where these three guys are. And they're hiding their face when I came in. But I'm coming. I'm still coming. So, Julian, you got to help these people. Your people. Council. We are the leaders. We elders are the leaders. We are the still landowners. We still inherit everything. And don't make this council control. No control. We make the decision. It's time for us to make decision as elders. Now, I never, come to this floor just now. Just now. But I will keep coming. And there's a lot of things going on out there. I got a couple ladies here that are here to want to voice their concern, and they're from this district. And she has a hard time getting around. But I wish you people look into these elders once and for all. We need the money. We need a ride. How do we get to Pine Ridge? You could pick up these elders and take them with you when there is a meeting instead of hiding. You need to do that. It's broken. Everything's broken. So why are you talking? Why are you wasting time? This vote needs to go through. And we can look at the next step. We have to look at the next step. But this got to pass. And I'm for it. And I got the documents, now I'm working for it. So maybe I'll be up there for the our district council floor. There's a lot of them here. I don't know if they're, I just came in. But I thought I just want to voice my concern a little time that I'll be on the road. So I appreciate that. I want you, Oyata, to know that I support you. I support you all the way. But we got to get to our council people. They're sitting here, they have to tell us what's going on. They don't tell us. They don't come back to the floor or districts. So what the hell's going on out there? What are you guys doing out there? Huh? I want to know that. I want to hear that. Why? Nobody would tell us. Now when you call them, they ring and ring and ring. It's business, all right? It's business. Answer your floor. You want a seat. You want the seat. You want the seat to work for the people. So you have to work for the people, not just the council floor. We're the one that elect you here. We are the one that's elected you here. So you need to remember that. You need to know that. Especially the women. Get on with these guys. Don't let them hide around. Don't let them do wrongful things for these papers. I want to say, I could speak all evening telling you the truth of what's going on, but I just have short time to say, so give me a time. Thank you for getting these guys minute. Ja, het soms ja, maar kat gehambre. We talk who's humble as Doxa. Awa ikte na kewa gliktacha. I'll continue. Come on the floor. There's a big message in Wyoming and Montana at this time. But Isha Hecha Manicha. Omanicha Tanka, you have 2 states. Donor tribes out there. I just want to announce that they're already working on it too. So, all right, thank you for listening to me. And I wish I could get on this guy. How about Lila Kota watching? Thank you.
I'd like to yield the floor to another district member, Mr. Chair, Joy Rosales.
Thank you. For many of you, you're aware of who I am. I'm not sure all of you know that I have changed my name. My name is Joseph Walks Underground. It's my mother's maiden name. And I'm from the Bull Bears. My grandmother was a Bull Bear. My grandfather was a Walks Underground. And before I speak, I want to apologize to the elders here. I ask you forgiveness for speaking before you. And to the younger ones, I thank you for your time. And the government has always had a plan for our tribes. That was to divide and conquer. They started with the Oglala Nation itself. They divided us into different bands, put us on reservations. And then they created this thing called the RA Constitution, which was ratified in 35. Prior to that, the tribes, they did work on their own constitutions, but they were really limited to as to what they could do. So we've been under this government, the IRA government, since 35. Not many people are very happy with this government because it's not really for the people. The council governs themselves. There is no ethics committee. There's nothing like that. If something comes before this council, then it's the council who says, okay, well, whatever they did wrong, we'll go into executive session and we'll figure it out from there. Whether it be right or wrong, the people are kind of left out of the whole thing. And maybe it's the people that brought the issue forth. Now, I've been watching this committee here since they started this whole process of trying to get this constitutional revision through. I've followed them and I've understood what they were saying, and there's opposition, and I think the only reason why there's opposition is because some of the council are going to be eliminated from these positions and not be able to run, or they're only going to be limited to a certain term. I sat in this council. I tried my best to do what I could for the people, but it's easy to fall into this thing, what I call the dark side, where you become to a point where you just have your own self-interest. You may get on, a certain committee so you can get stuff done for yourself, or someone that you know, or a group of people, self-interest. And when you say things like this, you get backlash. And the people understand that. That's why they're so upset with this council, and they want to see change. You look at the information that was provided. There was people that participated in this whole process and the changes that they wanted. That's what we should be voting on. That's what you should be understanding, is that it's the people's will, not the council's will. Because once you get in there in council, you know, and you get this thought in your head that, you know, I'm above everything, and that's, you know, these are my own personal opinions about this whole thing, and I say it because I understand it. I know what's going on with council. I was there. You forget who you are when you get into council, that you're working for the people. You're not just working for your family or your district. You're working for everybody. The people look up to you as leaders. They want change. You know, this world is going bad. I mean, we know that. We've seen the changes. All these disasters that we're having, it's not going to be any better in the future. In fact, it's probably going to get worse. You have the United States government, who is this person in office, in the highest office there is, the most powerful nation, who's making all these changes. And our environment's going bad. And you have to think about the future of our people. The only way it's going to change is if you think that way and not just worry about the crisis of the moment, because there's always going to be crisis. And living in the crisis for a nation to make treaties with other nations. We should be thinking outside the box. We should be thinking about what we can do with our land instead of having certain individuals run all our land. A certain group of people run all our land. And they're the ones who are profiting. I want you to really seriously think about the people when you make this. You know, I knew I was going to come here and this was going to happen, that you're going to table this and then it's going to go away. But it's not going to go away if the people are informed. And that's what this committee did. They came out here and they informed us, and they came back again and again and again. And if you didn't read that document, then that's on you. You should have read it. You should have known what was in that. You had plenty of time, 2 years. 2 years you had to learn about this and what the people wanted. Oh, I'll limit my time because I know you probably don't want to hear this, but I'm going to tell you what I think, because that's my right as a people, a member of this tribe. Oh, Duckus.
Very good.
Okay, I'm going to kind of stir things up here real seriously. I came here for one simple reason. Okay? Y'all said that. Then I'm listening to other sides. And then some of you council district representatives within this side reprimand Dave, your sergeant at arms. Okay? And tell him not to disrespect an elder again. He's my transi. But if I get upset and do it, then it's going to be something different here. I don't appreciate that, man. But I'm holding back. Chinky Dave, I'm holding back, okay? And we're going to talk about it later. Every time when you guys make decisions, you say you'd really talk to us. You never did. I got information of this Constitution revision and this reform from Robin on February 19th of this year. Okay? Now, you guys were taught by the white man, so you lie really good. Enough. And you all believe two different things. You stand on Christianity and you stand on the old way, right? All of you, because you do sun dances, you go in the sweats, you all do that. I disagree with that too, because you're making mockery out of me and my elders. and my lakota value. That's mine. I wish I can do exactly what you're doing, but I know how to serve my people. Now really think about it. Okay, you're going to be in a circle. Uncle Floyd Han and all these other grandpas and grandmas that passed away, okay? They used to tell you something. How many remember that? Raise your hand in this council. Huh? Come on. See, you forgot already. You never give it to us. Don't be lying to me, man. Somebody represents the people is this guy. You all know him as Dwayne Martin Sr. You know what I'm capable of doing too. Because I don't care about this council. If I can bring out a real strong remark to you, I would do it in so rapid fear that it'll blow you away. This young man right here, Mr. Chauncey Wilson, made remarks to your tribal member, Mitakepi, that he said we should knock Dwayne Martin off. What does that tell you? He said it, this man, at a bar in Interior. Where are you, Mr. Greenwald? You should be sanctioning him. Orson Cooney told me this, man, because this is what's going on. Maggie's brother and relative. Come on, you guys. Look at what this guy's doing. Is that how you make legislation? Go ahead and make that attempt. Because I don't care about jail. I don't care about cops. But look at it one more time, and you're gonna have your own things back. How can you be legislative, a branch of government, when you continue to do this type of heinous man conduct? I have never ever agreed with anybody in the positions that you do, okay? Because you never give it to the people in a true form. But it frustrates me over and over that you guys do this over and over. Routinely. Every council that passes a judgment, it's never taken back to the people. Just like the grandma in the wheelchair. Okay? And she said, you never bring your decisions back, which is true. But over the years, what's going to transition now? I know what you're all doing. DC's telling you what to do. And you're going to allow the states to continue to push it. Don't think I don't know. I live here. I live amongst you. And it frustrates me that I have to constantly defend my people this way. But the reality is this. Cell phones ki luhapi, okay? And this is where you need to investigate that. Get Dave to do it, okay? Cell phones, now put them in a bucket. And quit passing decisions amongst each other. How many law enforcement are here? Dwayne? Mr. Greenwald? How many others? You're a cop. Really think about it. It frustrates people. Then when someone like me steps up to the pedestal to acknowledge what's going on, everyone gets scared. What for? Go to DC and see what they do to you. They're going to slam the door on you guys. They don't want to listen to that because that's what they do. Exactly like this. It's the truth. My backyard is clean. Ain't nothing in there. Clean it all up. Past and present. And when you talk really about civic improvement, where is it? How can a grandma tell you guys that somebody in the council and somebody in the position that represents a tribal, a program is denying her access and being abusive to her? She just told you. Is she going to continue on until she passes away? I know what "wayus" means, and I put that "wayus" in it, okay? I put "use" in it because that's what you do. You use us. Really think about what's happening here, council. Okay, did you guys really want something like that? Huh?
I wanted to ask Mr. Martin. So what you're saying is that you've never seen this then, huh?
I never did. Robin, February 14th, ata tona boxes na taku kas wamna Johanna umuge. Ho lechala wogala kab ha. Le honey oyate won't spoon kapi. Yeah, you lied. How come I didn't know about it? I'm a roll member. I'm a full resident here too.
Okay, that's the question I wanted to ask because we're hearing that from other tribal members across the reservation. So Mr. Martin's not the first time that we heard that. So I hear your concern, Mr. Martin. And that's why today we have to make a good decision to say how we want to move forward on this constitution. If we say we give it back to the people, like you're saying, then that's the decision we need to make as a tribal council today. But I think, going beyond that, I don't want to go there because I think the whole reason behind having this constitutional meeting today was to address this constitution, but now he's telling us that. He's never seen this. He's never brought back to him as the Oyate to say this is what they want it changed in this constitution. So I'm just going to say that today, we need to be mindful of that and be respectful from the people, because when we're saying this belongs to the people, then you guys should have had input into it, but we're not hearing it. Like you said, February 14th, Robin gave you the copy, then you just not seen it. Okay, so I guess that's where I'm at with that, Mr. President, but I really think we need to move on and try to get something done with this.
Thank you, Councilwoman Little Hawk Weston and Mr. Martin. Before we continue,
I'm asking you. Ask it in my court. Come
on. Before we continue forward and we run this vote, I got a lot to say too. As the chairman, and I allowed the community to talk because these meetings do belong to them. And, I remained silent for a long time. I haven't gone out and, addressed the public because I've been so busy. I've been so busy, going to these meetings. Right now I got my phone's going off, because people are because I made the comment that I had a flight to catch. But what people aren't understanding is that flight that I'm catching to Washington is a very important meeting that's going to be very beneficial to this tribe. And yeah, I knew that this council meeting this reform was, this meeting was coming up, which is why I wanted this dialogue to happen without this presentation, because it was told that it was all in here. And I've read that. I read that as soon as they gave it to me. And it was stamped in my office, received at 1 p.m. by Candace Brings Plenty on March 4th, 2019. Now, as a chairman or Itancha or as a leader, there's things in this position that I have to do that are hard to do, but I have to do it. I have to say what's in my heart and in my mind. And those very words I never thought that I would ever say, because I heard Lekshi Malonhill say those words one day when he came into this council and took that Chanupa back during John Still's last administration. And I always thought about those words, and here I am having to say those exact words. But, we talk about a traditional form of government. In a traditional form of government, only men sat in the circle. Why? Because we told it like it was, like how Mr. Martin spoke. The women, they walk with compassion. They have that love. That's why they sat on the outside of that circle. But they shaped the men into who they were and sent them into these meetings. Yeah, I might not have a college education, but I have the education of grandma and grandpa. The traditional teachings and values that come with that. Now, with this constitutional reform, You know, I mean, and this is what I mean by I have something, you know, it's hard to say, but I have to say it. Before I ran for office, before I told, you know, way before election, I went to a meeting and I signed that petition because I did support it. But, you know, they made me sign that petition when I walked in the door before I even heard what was proposed. And Councilwoman Merdanian was the facilitator. She was accompanied with Miss Newholy. And it was just me and my dad from Wounded Knee District. We had that meeting at the Manderson Cap office. When we sat there and I started listening to her presentation, you know, everything sounded okay until it got to the part where the Elder Council. And in the Elder Council, one of the first requirements to sit on the Elder Council was that they had to be fluent in the Lakota language and they had to understand that. So as a community member, I asked Ms. Merdanian, I said, I would like to see that across the board for every elected official, for each and every one of us. And she said, no, because of boarding schools, our language disappeared, but we put it back in the curriculum. So I said, the kids are going to have it, the elders are going to have it, all the generations between are not going to be able to communicate. And that right there, you know, I'm tired of making excuses, using boarding schools as an excuse, when in fact, this Constitution is going to enforce that to be used against our elders whom in fact went and survived boarding school. They should be the ones using that excuse for not speaking our language, not us. But what did she do? She told me we wasted enough time on this topic and we moved forward. And then to hear the presentations and on the radio, this is what the people wanted. I was the people at one time before I sat in this circle. And you know what? I have to apologize to each and every one of you that sat in here from the last administration. Because to be honest, I came into this circle and I judged each and every one of you. Because I only listened to what this task force said on the radio. None of you, or none of us, even in this administration, go to the radio station and speak. So those are the only individuals that I heard as a young man. So I passed judgment on you guys, that you guys were all corrupt, that you guys were in it for yourself and crooked, because that is the picture that was painted for me from listening to those radio shows. And that's what, to me, this reform was a process of elimination to get rid of those of you that sat in here for a long time. But now that I sit in this circle and I've had the opportunity to work with each and every one of you, I see your hearts. I see your compassion. I see those of you that are really in it for the people. So I want to apologize to you for passing that judgment, because I shouldn't have. I should have had that open heart and that open mind when I came into this circle. But believe me, within our first month in office, I knew who was who. So I'm sorry to those council reps that came from the Western administration. I apologize. Now, coming to inauguration, I received a phone call from Councilwoman Tapio. And she told me, she said, Mr. Chair, I'm not going to make it to your inauguration because my son has court in Chadron for DUI. That's what I'm saying. This is hard for me to say, but I have to be honest and transparent. So this is what she told me. She said, I'm not going to be at your, or she said, I'm going to be quite honest, Chairman, I'm not going to be at your inauguration because you're going to have that chanupa there. And I don't believe in that chanupa. I'm an Episcopal. And I'm not trying to impose what you should believe in, but as a Lakota, as Oglala, That is our foundation. You know, and for Ms. Tapio to, you know, say that you know, this is what's good for the people, but how can I trust that when she doesn't believe in our foundation and who we are as Lakota people? Now that's okay what she wants to believe in, but for me, with the traditional teachings, I can't feel that the people's interest was put first. You know, and then on the voicemail, a second phone call with our Wombly council meeting. Councilwoman Tapio, I didn't appreciate what you said about the people. You said, Chairman, I don't know why you're trying to have these meetings back in the districts when all the people do out there is complain. You said the people want the mic and it turns into an open mic and business doesn't get done. But in fact, these meetings belong to the people. We shouldn't even be the ones to have discussion. It should be the people coming forward telling us, like how they did today, how they want us to vote. That's how these meetings should be run. You know, and then okay, you go to the radio and say, this is what the people want. You know, and then I start getting a lot of phone calls and text messages about Councilwoman Sears, how she already has me blasted on Facebook saying that I interrupted or I cut off the meeting because I have a flight to catch, and I do. It's an important meeting. But you know, Councilwoman Sears, to me, leadership, we're not supposed to create division amongst the people. We're supposed to do everything in our possibility to hold the people together as a whole, not to create that diversity. I mean, and there's a lot of things that you've done that I could go and do the same thing, but I won't do that because, like I said, it creates diversity amongst the people. And you have supporters from your district, but I have supporters from throughout the reservation. And if I did that to you, you would have all these other districts giving you a hard time. And I wouldn't want that. So to me, you know, it's a lack of leadership or traditional leadership. You know, so all this inside this meeting, you know, and then when you guys say that our traditions, our culture, our treaties are going to be well represented inside this reform. But then in fact, you blasted me on Facebook whenever we had that Wombly meeting because I asked for money for the Bigfoot riders, which is something traditional and something spiritual. So, I mean, your actions are speaking louder than your words. So, I mean, I can't trust that our treaties, our traditions, and our culture are truly represented inside this reform. Now, I had a lot of calls too from elders. One in particular from your district, Miss Lillian Tobacco, called me in my office and she said, Chairman, she said, I'm against this reform because they don't know how detrimental that's going to be to our treaties. She said, they're requiring an education when our young people are already having a hard time obtaining their education. So they don't know what they're doing. They're tying you young people's hands behind your back. Our forefathers, our ancestors, she said they didn't have an education. They led with their heart. They maintained a spiritual connection. And that's what got us here today. That's why we're alive today. Because of that spiritual communication and those traditional values that they had. So, you know, when it comes to this reform, as a chairman, you know, and then I look at your results and you're telling people, you know, yeah, 89% or 50% want change, but that's 89 or 50% of the 14% that had input. And I told you at orientation that I would feel comfortable moving this forward if we had 50 to 51%. Now, like I said, I believe in change, and this is something that I want for our people. But when I have an elder call me and ask me, how can council have input on rules that are going to govern you, that are going to govern themselves? That should come truly from the people. That money that they gave to council to do this reform, we should have gave that 60,000 to the people and asked them to bring something forward. Now that's something that I would support, and that's something that I want to see happen. I do want to see a reform happen, but I'd like to see it to come truly from the people without no council involvement, so that we can fully and really that's listening to the people. That's giving them a voice. That's giving them, something to vote on. At our previous council meeting, I gave you guys a letter and I requested to see a breakdown, a thorough breakdown of the budget of the aid to tribal government money that you used. And we all talk about transparency, but you said it's in your binder. Where at? I read this thing, I looked through this thing multiple times. There's no budget in there. I asked to see original signatures. Was I afforded that respect? No, there's no signatures in there. You said everything's in your binder. Yeah, there's a binder, but did I see it before today? No. Have I still seen it sitting in the circle yet? No. I would like to see where the people said, this is what I want. Now I would like to see those surveys so I could truly move this forward. Because maybe some of the people that you do have signatures from, maybe those are some people that I really respect. Some of the elders you talk about having their input. But was I given that? No. And to be quite honest, when I campaigned on change, and I thought you four were going to be my biggest support coming into this circle. But instead, it's the opposite. From day one, you've opposed everything that I tried to do, up to and including the positions in my office, who I'm barely getting filled at this time. So then again, we want to complain that I've almost depleted my travel budget. But why? Because I don't have the employees to help me, to delegate to go to these meetings. I didn't have a public relations. I didn't have a legislative liaison. I didn't have a cultural liaison. I had to do all that by myself. And then you guys paint this picture and put this out there for the people, and then they're calling me all hours of the night, or they're saying bad things to me, mean things, and I don't care. I listen to them because that's why I'm in this position. I got to hear it anyway. But again, you creating that. And as a young person, look at, I don't know. I want something different. And I don't want to kill something either. So I want this to be given back to the people. I want money to be given to the people and give them the tools and guide them. Help them to bring this forward without any of us having any input. Give them the tools that they need. So this can be truly a reform, because when you look up amendments, an amendment is a minor change. 50 amendments is way too much. That's not minor. That's a major change. And on one of these sheets in here, it says a new constitution in one of the letters that you put out. So are these revisions? Or is this a whole constitutional rewrite? Now, when I have elders telling me that this is something that they don't want me to support, and I went to the Grey Eagle Society, the meeting that they held in Manderson, and I told them the same things that I just said here today, because I didn't want this to be a personal decision. I told them the actions, I told them the things that you've said and the things that you've done, the things that I witnessed from inside this circle. And I asked them, I said, I want your advice. If I leave here today and you tell me to support it, I will leave here and I will support this. But if you tell me not to, then I won't. And you know what they all told me? They said, don't support it because we feel the same way. And there was one man in there, out of all they were all women, one man, Mr. Alex Whiteplume. And he told me to not support it because he said, you know what? He said, as much mistakes as we make as a government, or we end up getting into trouble, that Constitution is what saves us. And we don't have a perfect government. We have 2-year terms. So mistakes are always bound to happen because of the change in seats. Now those things were hard for me to say because I didn't want to hurt no feelings. But like I said, as a leader, I have to say it. As a man, I have to tell it like it is. And that's how it was, and those are the truth, and that's what happened. And that's why, as a chairman, as your president, that I can't support this at this time. So I have a tabling motion on the floor with a second. I'm going to ask the secretary to call for a vote.
Jim Meeks,
Yes.
Dwayne Yellowhawk,
Yes.
Glenn Gibbons,
No.
Lydia Bearkiller,
Yes.
James Cross,
Yes.
Sonia Little Hawk Weston,
Ha.
Jackie Sears,
Yeah.
Vincent Tulance,
Yes.
Craig Dillon,
Yes.
Cora Whitehorse,
Yes.
Valerie Janice,
Yes.
Valentina Merdanian,
Yeah.
Ryan Jumping Eagle,
No.
Bo Little White Man,
No.
Chancey Wilson,
No.
Philip Goodcrow,
Oh,
Randy Laisbad,
Yes.
Nikina Mills,
Yeah.
Richard Greenwald,
Yes.
Robin Tapio.
No.
$12 yes, 8 no, motion carried.
Motion to adjourn.
I got a motion to adjourn and a second. Secretary, call for the vote, please.
Jim Meeks, Dwayne Yellowhawk,
Yes.
Glenn Gibbons,
Yes.
Lydia Bearkiller,
Yes.
James Cross,
no.
Sonia Little Hawk Weston,
Ha.
Jackie Sears,
Yeah.
Vincent Tulance,
Yes.
Craig Dillon,
Yes.
Cora Whitehorse,
Yes.
Valerie Janice, Valentina Merdanian,
Yeah.
Ryan Jumping Eagle,
Yes.
Bo Little White Man,
Yes.
Chancey Wilson, Philip Goodcrow, Randy Laisbad,
Yes.
Richard Greenwald,
Yes.
Nikina Mills,
Yes.
where's she at? Robin Tapio.
No.
Yes, ma'am.
14 yes, 4 no, 2 not voting. Meeting adjourned.